The secret he kept for 42 years. Narrator. They say you never truly know the person you share a life with. But Elizabeth learned that truth the hard way. On the morning, she opened her late husband's safety deposit box and found a faded birth certificate, a child's name she'd never heard, John's name listed as the father, and a note that simply said, "She will come looking for you one day." Narrator. Elizabeth and John Parker had what everyone in town called the perfect marriage. 42 years together. A cozy white house on Willow Street. Sunday breakfasts, long walks, and the kind of quiet love people from the good old days still believed in. To their neighbors, they were the couple who'd survived everything. Job losses, recessions, health scares, the passing years. They had no children, something Elizabeth always regretted, though John would hold her hand and say, "We're enough. You and me, Liz. Always." But always doesn't last forever. Narrator. It began small, little things Elizabeth brushed off for years. Old letters John kept locked away. Phone calls he'd take outside, even in the winter cold. Birthdays when he seemed distant, lost in thought. And sometimes, late at night, Elizabeth would wake to find him sitting in the living room in the dark, holding a faded photo she never got to see. She asked once, gently, "John, who is that?" He smiled, kissed her forehead, and said, "Just memories, Liz. Go back to sleep." She never pushed, not because she didn't wonder, but because she trusted him, trusted the life they had built. But trust can age like glass, perfect and clear, until the day it cracks. B-roll of a quiet living room at night. Silhouette of an older man sitting alone. Close-up of an old photograph partly hidden. Narrator. Elizabeth sat in her living room, the birth certificate trembling in her hands. John Parker. Father. A child born 42 years ago. Yet she had been married to him for 41. Her chest tightened as the realization hit her. This wasn't a secret from before their marriage. This was a secret born during it. She reached for the faded photograph again. A young woman holding a baby, standing in front of an old farmhouse. John stood beside her, smiling in a way Elizabeth had never seen. Who was the woman? And where was the child now? Before she could think further, her phone buzzed. An unknown number. With shaking hands, she answered. Woman's voice. "Is this Elizabeth Parker?" A pause. I think you knew my father." Elizabeth's breath caught. The room felt like it spun around her. Narrator. The voice on the other end was nervous, soft, but carried a weight Elizabeth immediately recognized. The woman continued. "My name is Anna. I've been looking for John Parker my whole life. And I think he's my dad." Elizabeth froze. Her world, once steady and familiar, cracked open. Close-up of phone vibrating on table. Dramatic music swelling. Elizabeth covering her mouth in shock. Narrator. Elizabeth's fingers tightened around the phone. For a moment, she couldn't speak. The world around her had gone silent, as if even time was holding its breath. Finally, she whispered, "Anna, what makes you think John was your father?" There was a soft exhale on the other end, like someone gathering courage. "Anna, my mother told me before she died. She said John promised he would come back for us. But he never did. I grew up wondering why. I searched for him for years, but every lead went nowhere." Elizabeth felt a sharp, unfamiliar anger rising inside her, but also something else. A sting of guilt. A feeling she couldn't name. Narrator. But then Anna's voice broke slightly, trembling. "Anna, I'm not calling for money. I'm not calling to blame anyone. I just want to know one thing. Did he ever think about me? Did he ever care?" Elizabeth closed her eyes. The memory hit her like a wave. John sitting alone at night, holding the photograph. The letters he never let her read. Birthdays when he walked outside for air. The distant look in his eyes. He had cared. Deeply. Painfully. He just never found the courage to tell the truth. Elizabeth swallowed the lump in her throat. "Elizabeth. Anna, I think he carried you in his heart every day." There was silence. The kind that vibrates with emotion. Then Anna said softly, "Can we meet? Just once. I don't want anything more. I just want to understand who he was." Elizabeth stared at John's old armchair across the room. The chair that still held the shape of his body. The life she thought she fully knew. Could she meet the living reminder of John's deepest betrayal? And perhaps his deepest love? With a shaky breath, she answered, "Yes, Anna. Let's talk." Slow zoom on John's empty chair. Soft orchestral rise. Elizabeth wiping a tear from her face. Narrator. A week later, Elizabeth sat at a small cafe on Maple Avenue, her hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea she wasn't drinking. Outside, autumn leaves drifted past the window. Quiet, slow, almost hesitant, just like her breath. Then the door opened. A woman in her early 40s stepped inside. Dark hair, John's eyes. The resemblance was undeniable. She scanned the room nervously, until her gaze met Elizabeth's. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Anna approached the table, her voice trembling. "Anna, are you?" "Elizabeth." Elizabeth nodded. "Sit, dear." Anna sat, folding her hands tightly together. Her eyes were glossy, fighting back tears. Narrator. For the first few minutes, they didn't talk. They just studied each other. One searching for answers, the other searching for the pieces of her own broken truth. Finally, Anna spoke. "Anna, did he ever mention me?" "Even once." Elizabeth hesitated. This was the moment that could either heal or destroy. She reached into her purse and placed the faded photograph on the table. "Elizabeth, he didn't say your name, but he carried this picture with him. For decades." Anna's lips trembled as she touched the photo as if it were made of glass. "Anna, so he didn't forget me." Tears rolled down her cheeks. Soft, quiet tears of a child who had waited a lifetime for validation. Elizabeth felt her own throat tighten. Narrator. And in that moment, she understood something John could never explain. He had loved them both. In different ways. In different lives. Both imperfect. Both real. Anna whispered, "I'm sorry if this hurts you. I didn't want to take anything from you. I just wanted the truth." Elizabeth reached across the table and gently touched Anna's hand. "Elizabeth, you didn't take anything. Life just didn't give us the full story." For the first time, Anna smiled. Small, hopeful, fragile. They talked for nearly an hour. About John. About regrets. About the years lost. And about the woman Anna had become. Despite everything. Narrator. When they finally stood to leave, Anna hugged Elizabeth. A long, trembling hug. Two strangers connected by a man they both loved in different ways. Elizabeth whispered into her shoulder, "He would have been proud of you." Anna cried again, this time with relief. Soft focus shot of two women hugging in a quiet cafe. Warm golden light. Leaves falling outside. Narrator. Elizabeth walked home slowly, the cool breeze brushing against her face. For the first time since John's death, her heart felt a little lighter. She knew she would never fully understand why he kept the secret, why he carried so much guilt alone, why he didn't trust her enough to share the truth. But today, something changed. She didn't just meet Anna. She met the missing chapter of John's life, the part he was too afraid to open, even to the person he built a home with. Narrator. That night, Elizabeth sat in John's old armchair. She placed the faded photograph on her lap and whispered into the quiet room, "I forgive you, John, and I hope you found peace. Because today, I finally did too." The camera pulls back. The house warm, still, filled with a new kind of understanding. Not the end of a story, but the beginning of healing. Life is rarely as simple as we want it to be. Sometimes the people we love carry secrets, not to betray us, but because they're scared of losing us. So now I want to ask you, what would you do if you discovered a hidden child your partner never told you about? Would you forgive? Walk away? Try to heal? Tell us in the comments below. Your voice might help someone going through something similar. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Thank you for watching. Stay kind. Stay human.